also tell you to set realistic goals. Always set goals. Even today, I still have goals. After I've accomplished one, I'm on to the next goal. I never revel or relish in something that I've already done. The next day, it's on to something else. Don't think that in the age of social media, especially with you all being young ladies, you get on social media, everybody's pretty, everybody has materialistic things, and it gives you a false sense of reality because you are chasing something that is not real per se. We can be anybody on the internet, but who are you in real life? And I think that's what we need to focus on. Don't let society standards dictate who you are. You don't have to be skinny. You don't have to be a certain have a certain skin tone. You don't have to have the latest. Don't say Jason. You don't have to have the latest trends per se. Be who you are. I see this young lady here with the glasses with the blue hair, and I love that because you're expressing yourself. So continue to do that. Don't go with the status quo, and that would be my best advice.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, I'm Dr. Soretta Williams, and I work in the corporate world now of politics. I'm actually the executive assistant for one of the city council people here in Jacksonville. And one of the things that I want to warn you of social media, because sometimes it can be a blessing and sometimes social media could be a curse. And I needed to say that to you because what happens is that when somebody gets ready to hire you, they're going to go into your social page and see what you've been posting. And so if you want to continue to be somebody that's respected and a young lady that's going to be respected by the world, make sure that whatever you post, you want your mama, your daddy, Jesus, and everybody else to see. Because at any time, that information can be retracted. So I want to just put that out there so that you understand that you may go through school and become whoever, and they find certain things on your social page and they won't hire you, they'll hire the next person. It'll disqualify you from your position. So I wanted to say that while we were saying that.
I'm gonna be quick. I was just sitting here thinking as I was listening to the other ladies about the question that was handed to you all. And one thing that I would advise everybody to do, I would say, is that and I know this is so cliche, you hear it all the time, but it's so true. Life is really about choices. You have to understand that choices are important. Choosing wisely is important. You have, especially before you get married and start having children and start, building your career. Y'all are young right now, so you don't understand how blessed you are to even have the opportunity to choose to do what you want to do. My advice, and I tell my kids, that think about the consequences first before you do what you're going to do. Because sometimes we don't think about that. We think because we're young, we got our whole life. But sometimes things you choose to do when you're young, it's going to affect you when you get older. Okay, and sometimes we don't think about it. Not to say you can't have fun, you can't hang out, you can, but there's just levels to what you do. So before you do anything, if you don't hear nothing else, just think about the consequences first before you choose to do what you're going to do. Okay? All right.
All right.
All right, our last question is going to come from my assistant. She's agreed to read the last question for you. Her name is Jayla Khan. Give her a hand, please.
What made you want to start a business, and who are your main supporters in your circle?
Y'all got some good questions.
I have a business called Successful Women Acknowledge, and it is it's long for SWA. And if you go on my page on Instagram, successfulwomenacknowledge.com, I just highlight extraordinary women who I've never met, probably will never meet in this lifetime. But I thought that it was important that I highlight that there are women out here that look just like you, that are doctors, that are lawyers, that are psychiatrists, that are psychologists, they're book writers, they're teachers. My business is all about women empowerment. We help start businesses for women. We help start nonprofits. And it's really to just highlight. Oftentimes you may hear it's a man's world. But what we don't say after that, which has become an unspoken word, is it's nothing without a woman. It is a man's world, but it is nothing without a woman. So we try our best to really highlight other women and highlight what they're doing and just bring to light what it is that they have going for themselves in their city.
Hi, I'm Shanae. I'm with Party Life Productions. I'm a wedding and event planner. And what inspired me to start my business was my friends and family. I was just doing something that I enjoyed doing for myself, planning parties and gatherings at my home. And it was the people around me who told me, you have a talent and you should do it for other people, and you should nurture it and make it something that becomes your career. And it is 100% because of them that I was able to do that. It was definitely because I believed in myself, but also listened to advice from others. It was because I pulled from those around me. My biggest supporters, again, are my friends. I'm sitting next to someone who would call herself my biggest fan. I'm standing across from someone who would also call themselves my biggest fan. I have some biggest fans in the kitchen right now, and that's just in this building. There are a lot of people who love me and support me for what I do, and it's because they know that it's my purpose. And it's very important that whatever your purpose is, you work hard to nurture that. You can't just say, I want to be a dancer, or I want to be a writer, or I want to be a lawyer. What are you doing to make yourself whatever it is that you want to be? You have to perfect that craft. You have to work hard at it all day, every day. It never stops. And you have to make sure that the people around you are encouraging you to do that. You don't want people who tell you you're a good dancer if you're not a good dancer. So you need to be that friend to your friends, and you need friends who can be that way for you so that you can be the best that you can be. Thank you. All right, we're gonna open the floor for like 2 questions. Anybody want to stand up and say something, or want to be taken away from something? Okay. And stand up and tell us your name, baby. You have a question or a takeaway?
My question is, what is like your mission in life?
Anybody want to answer? I'll start. My mission in life, I'm a teacher. I love it. I love it to death. I actually have one of my former students. I taught her when she was in 3rd grade. And I also had a brother when he's in the 7th grade now, right? So that's my passion. I love teaching young people, and that's just something that I've always wanted to do when I did it. And I didn't always have it all good until I had my children when I was in college as well. But it was so hard, but I pushed through it, and now look at me. One of the best teachers at Pine Estates Elementary, if not the top teacher at Pine Estates.
I know that's right.
There you go. You can do anything.
I think I realized my purpose when I was about 15 years old. I was just being nosy, honestly. I had a friend who interned over the summer in the domestic violence area of the courthouse. She worked for the clerk of courts because her sister was like a manager. And she said, girl, you can come down here and sit in on people's trials. So myself and Nashira, I don't know where Nashira is, I dragged Nashira down there, and Nashira went with me. And over the summer, when most people are at pools when they're 16 or at parties or whatever the case, I was sitting in on people try being nosy. I don't know. And ever since then, I guess I didn't know that was my purpose then, but what I do now is I go into the detention centers. I advocate for young people who are serving harsh sentences, and I realized my purpose long ago. Well, I think God gave me that purpose, but I didn't know that's what it was back then. So my purpose is to help young people realize their full potential, that you, like I said, you can do absolutely anything. Like Tiffany said, I too was a teen parent. That's really not my platform. It's not something I, put out there, but it is what it is. That's what I was. And I was still able to do everything in spite of that. So,
Okay, we have a question.
All right, so was it hard, like for people that had children early, was it hard to like keep going?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's totally hard.
Hard.
I guess what I'll say, and I want to stand up and say that, answer that question. I think it's been burning in me to talk about it. I was 16 years old when I had my first child, but I was a star athlete in school. I was one of those people that was running track, playing football, and I did it one time. And this is my platform. It only takes one time to change the whole course of your life. It don't stop your life, but it changes the course and how you get there. And that means that I had to do my homework holding a baby that might have been crying, needed to be changed or whatever. And my mom, I love her because she would not let me not go to school. But after I went to school and did my work, that baby was mine. She said, you had it, you gonna rock it. So, but that same, on the same hand, I ended up going to school later. I could have probably had scholarships, all of those things, but my entire life changed. So I don't want anybody to think, and I think up on this panel, most of us, mine was peer pressure, where my friends looked like everybody else could do it and they didn't get caught. But the first time I tried it, I only did it once, and I was like almost 7 months pregnant before I even realized I was pregnant. That's what my book talks about, because I went through abuse, I went through molestation, I done been through rape. But I'm here today to tell you that you can come through it all and still become who God has called you to become. But in the midst of it, I lost me. And God helped me find me. I had to learn to love me again, because I felt the victims or the offenders made me feel as though it was my fault that it happened. Mm-hmm. So I felt bad about myself. And so when I found out it wasn't my fault, and I'm telling you today, no matter what has happened, it's not your fault. Some people are grown, some people know how to manipulate, and they tell you lies. And if any of those things are going on in your life, you get somewhere safe. I always tell people, get somewhere safe and let them know what happened. My journey ended us up on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 2005. And that's when I journeyed my book, When Your Seasons Collide, Dealing with Your Family Secret. And I'm now trying to tell people, don't make it a family secret. You have to tell somebody. And you know what? Until we was able to talk about it, we wasn't able to heal. And that same baby ended up going through the same thing that I went through. And it's called generational curses. Yeah. And those things just keep happening because we don't deal with them. We keep putting them up under the rug. And you are beautiful young ladies. People see you and you're matured. And a lot of us are over matured. I don't know what they put in our food these days. And we are, we're coming out just all shapely and all of those things, and people take advantage of that. And so no matter what race or color, it's about you being violated, whether you're male or female. You should not be violated in any way, verbally, physically, emotionally, in any kind of way. Domestic violence, physical. None of those things should be happening to you because you don't deserve it. And before we leave from this place, if you have to tell somebody, let somebody know, and they're going to handle it.